Statistics South Africa will be releasing the January 2013 CPI, which is based for the first time on new weights and a new basket. Now, the CPI is comprised of two components. First of all, the prices, which we typically measure on a monthly basis. And then secondly, a basket of goods and services, each with its own weighting, which represents the relative importance of that particular product in the overall CPI. It's good practice internationally to reweight and define a new basket approximately every 5 years. And so this is a normal procedure that we would undertake periodically. The weights of the CPI are based on a detailed survey of households' expenditure, which was conducted during 2010 and 2011, which we ask households a really detailed list of questions about what they've spent their money on. Once we get the results of the survey, we look at these to make some adjustments where households may have underreported. For example, households don't always like to reveal how much they spend, for example, on alcohol or tobacco. But and in some cases, they may overinflate their expenditure on certain items. What we also do, because the survey was some time ago, is we do what we call price updating, where we use relevant inflation rates to bring the weights and the expenditures of households to current money terms. So these are two adjustments that have been made to the new weights. In the new weightings, we do see the impact of commodities where there have been significant price increases. Electricity as weights, for example, has more than doubled. We also see increases in weights, for example, in housing rentals, as well as medical aid premium expenditures. Some of the items where expenditure has gone down proportionately would include vehicles, as well as tobacco products. Food expenditure, interestingly, has remained pretty flat at about 14% of total expenditure of households. One of the findings of our expenditure survey was that overall households were about 25% richer than they were in 2005-06, which is when we had conducted the previous survey. This means that households started to spend more money on more discretionary items. So coming into the CPI basket now, we see items such as feta cheese, mineral water, filter coffee, drinking chocolate. And perhaps some items that we may see as more basic goods, such as firewood, green laundry soap, and samp, have fallen out of the baskets. The CPI is important, firstly, as an indicator of inflation that the Reserve Bank uses for monetary policy purposes, but also it's widely used as a measure of changes in the cost of living. And it's for this reason that wages and pensions and the like are often escalated according to the change in the CPI. And so Stats SA does produce a number of cost of living indices that look at specific groups, for example, at different income groups. We have one for pensioners, and we also have one for rural areas. And in fact, our rural area index will be much more robust and more detailed than it has been previously, as we are going to be collecting some food prices in the rural areas for the first time. We are also going to be rebasing the CPI. Rebasing means that you put all the indices to 100 in a particular point of time. Traditionally, South Africa has had a base period of a year. This time around, there will be a month, which is the base period, which will be December 2012. This makes it much easier for us to introduce new products into the CPI, but doesn't really have any material impact on the rates of inflation. One of the additional features that we are going to be introducing is a trimmed mean measure of core inflation. Now, the Reserve Bank looks at a range of inflation rates, and typically they would look at the headline rate, which encompasses all products. They would look at the core inflation rate, which is the excluding food and fuel prices. The trimmed mean measure excludes different items from on a month-to-month basis based on how big their price changes have been. And it would exclude the 5% of prices that have got the biggest price changes and those that have got the biggest negative price changes. And we believe that over a period of time, this will become quite important for monetary policy purposes.